In the arid steppe, where the grass rustled in the hot wind, a tense confrontation erupted. A pack of porcupines, their spines bristling, darted through the dust, constantly on guard, while behind them lurked the honey badger, a tenacious, fearless predator. The pounding of hooves on the dry ground, the clicking of the porcupine quills against each other, all blended with the frantic breathing of this life or death chase. The honey badger relentlessly pressed forward, feints, and changed direction, searching for an opening to attack. But the porcupines immediately turned, erecting a defensive line with their sharp quills. Each charge forced the honey badger to retreat, kicking up clouds of dust, the tension reaching its peak. The confrontation was not just about strength, but about survival instinct, about tenacity against unwavering defense. Finally, as both sides grew weary, the porcupines retreated into the bushes, still on alert, while the honey badger stood in the open space, breathing heavily, its eyes fixed on its opponent. On this harsh land, there are no absolute winners, only creatures that survive through instinct and an indomitable will. But the story didn't end there. As the dust settled, the space became suffocatingly silent, with only the sound of the hot wind blowing through the dry, thorny bushes. The hedgehogs slowly separated, one by one disappearing deep into the dense vegetation, their spines still standing as a final warning. On the opposite side, the honey badger stood motionless for a moment, its short, stocky body covered in dust, its chest rising and falling with each heavy breath. It hadn't given up, but was calculating and reassessing every movement that had just occurred. On this harsh savannah, every confrontation was a lesson, every scratch a reminder that recklessness must be accompanied by strategy. The honey badger lowered its head, sniffing one last time before turning away, accepting that today wasn't the time. As for the hedgehogs, though they had escaped, they were far from completely safe. They continued to move, never lingering in one place for too long, because they understand that the tenacious predator could return at any moment. On this sun-drenched, wind-swept land, the cycle of survival continues, where predator and prey always watch each other, in an endless game of the wild. And as the sunlight began to deepen to a deep yellow. The prairie seemed to take on a more somber cloak. Footprints etched in the red sand were clear evidence of the recent confrontation. A brief but intense moment in the relentless rhythm of nature. The honey badger slowly departed the area. Its gait still vigilant. Its ears and nose constantly alert. Ready for any eventuality. For it, failure did not mean giving up, but merely a delay in its arduous journey of survival. Elsewhere, deep within the tangled thickets, the hedgehogs huddled in silence. No more frenzied chases. Only caution and the instinct to preserve life. Their spines lowered, but vigilance remained evident in every small movement. They knew that a moment of carelessness could bring danger at any time. On this land, there was no mercy, nor any permanent ruler. Each day presents a new challenge, where every creature must make a choice: advance, confront, or retreat to survive. The encounter between the honey badger and the porcupine is just one piece of the larger picture of the wild, where survival is achieved through instinct, experience, and unwavering willpower. But night on the savannah is never truly peaceful. As the sky darkens to a deep purple, the temperature drops, and even the smallest sounds become more distinct: the chirping of insects, the rustling of dry leaves, and the cautious footsteps of a hunter in the shadows. The honey badger continues its journey, not necessarily for revenge, but driven by instinct. It must find food, survive the night, endure another day. It stops at a patch of uneven ground, crouched is low, sniffs, and begins to dig. Its strong claws scrape vigorously at the dry soil, kicking up sand and dust with each movement. There are no more growls of confrontation, only the frantic digging and heavy breathing. On this land, even a small opportunity is worth a meal. And even after its recent battle with the porcupines, the honey badger doesn't allow itself to slow down. In the distance, the hedgehogs had vanished from sight, but their presence remained a reminder: there are prey that are not easily subdued, and there are chases that only end when both sides understand their limits. In nature, the tenacious don't always win, but the adaptable always have a chance. And then, under the pale moonlight, when the honey badger lifted its head, its eyes reflected the darkness like a cold ray of light. It continued. On, silently but resolutely, leaving behind fading footprints in the sand. The confrontation with the hedgehogs was over, but the story of survival never truly ended. Further on, as night completely enveloped the savannah, all movement seemed to slow, but life never ceased. Beneath the deep darkness, Each creature entered its own lifeline. The honey badger continued to weave through the low thorny bushes. Its short, stocky body almost blending into the shadows. Its only sign of presence being its steady breathing and firm footsteps on the dry ground. Gone was the impatience of the daytime chase. Instead, there was silent calculation, patience, and experience. Elsewhere, the hedgehog colony had found safer shelter. They moved slowly, maintaining a safe distance. Each hedgehog pointing its spines outward like a living wall. In the darkness, they didn't need to run fast, for their true strength lay in their defense and unity. Any unusual sound caused the entire colony to pause for a split second, listening, sensing, before continuing onward. The steppe at night is a different world, where every decision is made in silence. There are no triumphant cheers, nor pity for the losers. Only creatures silently adapting, learning from each encounter to survive longer in this harsh environment. And as the dawn of a new day gradually breaks on the horizon, the first rays of light illuminating the faint footprints in the sand, the story of yesterday closes to make way for the next challenge. The hedgehogs and honey badgers, though separated, remain part of the same endless cycle, where survival is never a given, but always a trade-off between instinct, vigilance, and the unwavering will of the wild. As the morning light gradually spread across the prairie, everything seemed to start anew. The thin mist dissipated from the dry grass, revealing a land that seemed peaceful but always lurked with danger. Honey badgers reappeared in the faint light of dawn, moving slowly but cautiously, each step carrying the vigilance of someone who had experienced too many trials. Every scratch, every time a hedgehog's spine forced them to retreat, became a memory, and that memory transformed into survival experience. On the other side, the hedgehog pack also began a new day. They separated to search for food, but maintained an invisible connection, always ready to regroup if they sensed a threat. Their spines were no longer as erect as yesterday, but a single signal would instantly re-establish their defenses. They understood that on this prairie, safety was only fleeting. There was no revenge, no immediate rematch. Instead, a delicate balance prevails, where both predator and prey learn to respect each other's boundaries. Honey badgers continue hunting other targets. Hedgehogs continue their silent journey, and the savannah operates according to its unchanging, Ancient laws, the chase and confrontation of yesterday will fade with time. But the spirit of survival it leaves behind will endure. On this harsh land, no one truly wins. And no one completely fails. Only those creatures strong enough, wise enough to move forward, immersing themselves in the endless rhythm of the wild.